Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. Look, we've been long told this, and guys in the scouting community preach this all the time, okay? Don't scout the helmet, scout the player, okay? It's very hard to do that sometimes when a university, a school continues to produce duds at the position, which Ohio State has done, particularly at the quarterback position. They just can't seem to produce a quarterback that goes to the NFL and has any type of success. That said, I'm going to bypass all of that with Justin Fields, and I'm just going to focus on Justin Fields and what he brings to the table. And I can tell you this, the guy completed at a 69% clip at Ohio State in his 2 years as a starter. The guy threw 63 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. The guy was a machine. He won ball games. He was 20-2 in his career. There's a lot to like here. There's a lot not to like. I think that there's a lot of upside, though, here with Justin Fields. I can tell you this, and I wrote this in my analysis in my report for him. I don't know of many quarterbacks that needed the 2020 season more than Justin Fields, which is part of the reason he was so adamant. He was the guy that started this petition that got a bunch of signatures to have college football be reinstated so that they could play. He knew that his draft stock kind of depended on it. He was still going to be highly rated, and he was going to be drafted relatively early, but there were a lot more questions. I think he answered some of those questions in 2021 with his play. Let's take a look at his card and flip this thing over. So, his strengths, he's got an adequate arm. All right. Again, not an arm that's going to wow you. This isn't a Justin Herbert type of arm. You know, this isn't a Josh Allen type of arm. This isn't a Zach Wilson type arm. Okay. It's not elite, but he can make every throw on the field, and that's all that matters. Athleticism and mobility. Again, we know that this guy can move. We know he can run. We know he can extend plays. His mobility is a huge part of his game. It's what makes him so dangerous. So that's something that is definitely high on the list of his strengths. Toughness. We saw his toughness, multiple times over while at Ohio State. We saw this guy take shots. We saw him get up. We saw him play with injuries. Going back to his first year as a starter at Ohio State in 2019, he wasn't right in that Orange Bowl game against Clemson. He wasn't 100% in that game. He had an injury late in that season, and he played through it. He's a tough guy. We saw the shot he took in the Clemson game, right to the ribs. All right, he left for like one play and came right back, and he was wincing the entire game. We knew he was banged up, and don't think for 1 second that he was 100% healthy. A week or two later when they played against Alabama, but he gutted it out. He's a tough guy. Sturdiness and physicality. So sturdiness and physicality are two things that you don't get with every quarterback. Sturdiness for me is when a guy is in the pocket and he can shrug off a defender. You get an edge rusher that beats the tackle around the edge and you step up, but he grabs your shoulder. And if you're not a sturdy quarterback and he yanks your shoulder pad, you're going down. But if you're a sturdy quarterback, if you're a Big Ben type of guy, if you're a Drew Bledsoe type of guy where you're just big, you're physical, you're sturdy, hard to bring down, you're going to shrug that guy off, you're going to keep your feet, and you're going to continue on trying to make a play. He has that innate ability. He's got that sturdiness where we call it contact balance everywhere else on the field. If a running back has the ball and you try to take out his knee, it's what makes Alvin Kamara an elite back. He's got the best contact balance of any player I've ever scouted. You see that with quarterbacks. I call it sturdiness in the pocket. And then he's got physicality. He finishes runs. Again, a lot of these quarterbacks, they finish runs physically. They're going to find out very quickly at the NFL level, that's not what you want to do. This ain't what you want. You don't want to finish runs physically. Joe Burrow, it took him all of 8 games in his rookie season, I believe it was, maybe 8 or 6. I remember a soundbite where he said, hey, look, I ain't taking any more of those shots. I'm done. And he started sliding and he started running out of bounds. It doesn't take long for these guys like Sam Ehlinger and Justin Fields to realize, man, I better get my ass down. Okay, so he's a physical guy. That's going to stop at the next level. He's going to learn how to slide sooner if he wants to preserve. It's called self-preservation. If you want to do it, you'll learn how to slide a lot sooner. That extra yard or two that you can get isn't worth you taking the shot that is associated and attached to that extra yard or two. Playmaker, extendability. Again, just because you have wheels doesn't mean that you extend the play looking to throw. He's got the ability to extend plays and then chuck it down the field. There are a couple of guys in this draft that, to me, they can run. They're athletes. They're athletically gifted, but they're not looking to extend the throw. All right. When I watch Kellen Mond, he's not looking to extend the throw. He's looking to run. Okay. Once he vacates the pocket, if a guy's not right in front of his face, he's tucking and he's running. All right. Same can be said for the transfer out of Wake Forest, Jamie Newman. Another guy that'll tuck it and he's not looking to extend. He's tucking it and he's looking to run. Justin Fields is tucking, but if he gets to a point where he's safe, his eyes remain up and he's looking to throw it down the field. He's looking to make a big play. Accuracy, short and intermediate. So short to intermediate, he's money a lot of times. Even though I do feel like when I watch him, and I don't know if you guys can attest to this or not, when I watch him, I see a guy that throws the football with not a lot of zip. A lot of his balls, especially when they go out to the boundary, if he's throwing to the opposite hash or he's throwing a speed out, those balls tend to sail on him. There's a little bit more air under it than you would like. You want those things to be on a rope to a guy, catch it so you can turn up the field. A lot of his balls, guys are having to leave their feet, jump to catch them. I don't necessarily love it, but it gets there. But there's not a lot of yards after catch when you do that a lot of times. He can throw from multiple arm slots, and not everybody is equipped with that ability. You know, one of the best guys I've ever seen do it in the NFL is Matthew Stafford. Stafford will hit you from 6 different arm angles. Patrick Mahomes has picked up where Stafford left off. He can hit you from multiple angles. Hell, he doesn't even have to look, does Mahomes, when he's throwing it. So when the guy comes in and he can drop down 3/4 or he can drop down even lower to get it to a guy, that's big, because when you're 6'3" like Justin Fields, you're going to have some trees with their hands up. Sometimes you got to be able to just throw it right on the side of them, right under their armpits. He can do that. And then he's a winner. Again, say what you want about Justin Fields, and we could probably say that about most Ohio State quarterbacks. They won a bunch of games. I get it. But it's still 20 wins, 2 losses. And his last season, he took his team all the way to the national championship game. So, again, got to be able to give guys credit where it's due. Weaknesses, okay? He will stare it down. This is not a guy that's looking off the safety a ton of times, or even looking off underneath coverage. You know, when you've got linebackers reading your eyes, you can't just take them straight to the football. And a lot of times, he will stare it down and take guys right to the football, but, you know, he still is able to get it there because his guy wins in a major way, or that linebacker maybe didn't trust his eyes fast enough. Whatever the case may be, he will stare it down. I've got some instances where he's taking defenders straight to the football. You will see that in the film breakdown when we get to Justin Fields. He'll stare it down, take the safety right to where the ball's going. Doesn't process and progress rapidly. I think he's a guy that gets stuck on his first read a lot of times. You know, that first read, he's banking on that guy getting open. And 90% of the time in Ohio State's offense, that guy does get open. But when that guy doesn't get open, he sticks there a little bit too long. And there are times where he'll still force it anyway. But he didn't go through his progressions fast enough for me. Look, number 1's not there. 2's not there. Get it to the check down, okay? 2's not there. Maybe 3 on the backside is open. Get it to him. He didn't go through his progressions fast enough for me. He massages the ball a ton, and that kind of speaks to doesn't process and progress rapidly enough for me. He'll massage it, man. He'll hold on to it, and you're like, dude, get rid of it. Dude, get rid of it. And he'll take an unnecessary sack. Speaking of which, takes too many sacks and vicious hits. Have you ever seen a quarterback take more vicious hits than Justin Fields? I can't remember a guy taking the amount of vicious shots in a 2-year span than Justin Fields. He took some hellacious shots in college where you just go, and then there's some sacks in there. You're like, come on, bro. You can't. You're too athletic. You're too athletically gifted. You got too many talented guys around you, and you're too smart for that. Get rid of the damn ball. He fumbles too much for my liking, and there are too many batted balls. Okay, and again, this is a byproduct of you staring it down and you telling a guy and telegraphing when you're going to throw it. And so guys know they're not getting there. They see you about to throw it. They get their hands up, and he gets a lot of balls batted. Too many for my liking. This is a guy that fumbled 11 times in 2 years. 9 of those fumbles came in 2019. Now, he was a lot better in 2020. But 9 fumbles in one season, far too many. Lost 5 of those. So he's going to have to clean that up in terms of when he gets hit. He's got to hold on to the ball. And then finally, his deep ball accuracy is way too inconsistent for me. That's something he needs to shore up. I talk about the difference between elites and the above average quarterbacks. And there's a fine line between an elite quarterback and an above average quarterback, or a really good quarterback and a guy that's right on the cusp of being elite, but right on that tier below. And a lot of times it's your ability to hit the deep ball. It comes open. Can you hit the deep ball? You don't get these opportunities in the NFL very often. And wide open in the NFL is a lot different than wide open at Ohio State. Okay? Wide open at Ohio State, a guy's open by 5 yards. In the NFL, a guy's got a step and a half. That's wide open in the NFL. I need you to make that throw. He misses the deep ball for me too often, and too many times it's underthrown. I know he has the arm strength to get it there. Too many times, even in the game, he threw 6 touchdown passes. I'm nitpicking against Clemson. How many of those throws did his receiver have to catch it on his back hip and snatch it forward? At least 2 touchdowns that were deep balls. That you say, come on, guy. That easily, if that guy wasn't beaten by 7 yards, that could be a breakup. But because they were beaten so badly, he was able to snatch it off his back hip and make the catch. So deep ball accuracy is something that I think he has to get better at. I look at him as a top 20 guy. He's going to go in the top 10 picks. I'm aware of this. I see him as a top 20 guy. I wouldn't spend a top 10 pick on him, but I would spend 17 on him. I would spend 15 on him. My comp for him is Marcus Mariota. I see a lot of the same characteristics. A lot of the things I just expressed are things that I expressed with Mariota coming out of Oregon. A lot of wide open receivers. A guy that wasn't always the most accurate when he would throw it deep. A guy that was an extremely gifted athlete, won a ton of games in college, could run to extend. A lot of these things, I see a lot of those same traits here. And I like Marcus Mariota, and I think he's going to get another chance in this league, and I think he may be successful, similar to Ryan Tannehill. And just to go backwards a step, I just broke down Mac Jones. His comp is Eli Manning, and I do want to make sure you understand that I feel like Mac Jones is a late 1, early 2nd. I wouldn't spend the 19th overall pick if you're Washington. I wouldn't do that. Again, get your guy when you feel the need to get your guy. I've always said that. And but for me, Mac Jones is the 28th pick in the draft. He's the 32nd pick in the draft. He's the 37th pick. He's the 34th pick in the draft. That's where Mac Jones should go. He'll probably go a lot sooner than that.
LouieTeeNetwork.